Welcome to Hot Topics in International Trade, brought to you by Braumiller Law Group and Braumiller Consulting Group. Hi, this is Bob Brewer with Braumiller Law Group and Braumiller Consulting Group. Welcome to the podcast. Today with me I have Brenda Cordova, our Mexico legal counsel, coming to us from San Luis Potosí, Mexico. Many of you have heard her speak at the ICPA events about IMMEX. That's our topic for today. I kind of want to delve into this, get a little overview of it first here, Brenda, and then we'll kind of dig a little deeper into kind of what's been going on from our end of the spectrum with IMMEX and companies actually moving operations from China into Mexico, pushing the product into Canada and the U.S. Interesting. But explain to everyone out there, just let's go 101 on them for just a minute. What is an IMMEX, Brenda?
Hi, Bob. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for the invitation. And talking about IMMEX, it's a very important topic, and I really enjoy this topic. So let me tell you what an IMMEX is. IMMEX is an acronym. It's the letter IMMEX. And it stands for Manufacturing, Maquiladora, and Export Services Industry. That's the literal translation in English, of course, because in Spanish is Industria Manufacturera, Maquiladora y de Servicios de Exportación. And what it is, this acronym, it's the name of a program which was created by the federal government, the Mexican government, to be granted to specific companies that comply with a long list of requirements. And the purpose or the idea of having an IMMEX is for a company to be able to import into Mexico under a temporary status, a temporary customs regime, everything that the company may need to produce, manufacture, or transform the inputs and components into a finished product. The finished product should leave Mexico within the statutory allowed times in order for the company to receive the benefits which are granted by the IMMEX.
So these are, what you're talking is exactly what I said in a way that who would be interested in an IMMEX? Last time I checked, and correct me if I'm wrong, there were like 6,100 of these IMMEX along the border of like Texas, the U.S., and Mexico, correct?
Well, yeah, actually, there are over 6,000 IMMEX in Mexico, but not just on the border. They are located throughout the whole Mexican territory. And of course, when we hear about IMMEX or maquiladora or maquila, the first thing that comes to your mind, can be, manufacturing or fabrication companies located on the northern border of Mexico. And this is because of the history, since a long time ago, after the Second World War, the United States created a program. It was called the Bracero program, so that Mexicans could go to the United States and work there in order to relieve there was this lack of men in the United States. But then later, this program or this idea was sent to the northern border for Mexican companies to be here, and the Mexican workers would not need to leave Mexico to go to the United States. So the program was on the border, and that was the main idea, to bring materials, produce something, and back to the United States.
Yeah, so when I think about this, like what you and we've been on several calls over the past, year one. This is a company, hypothetically, who's tired of the Section 301, who's tired of forced labor issues in general, getting product into what is my main market, which would be the United States and Canada. Now I'm looking at, over the past decade, it's become very competitive with this manpower you're talking about between China and Mexico. So if Mexico has the manpower and these IMEX are already sort of set up, why would I not at least talk to an expert like you to say, all right, what are the benefits to me? Now, obviously there's USMCA. There's what are the real true benefits to me picking up and moving my operation, my manufacturing to Mexico, because maybe 60-70% of my products going into the United States and Canada. Tell me about it. What are the real benefits here to get me to do that? Pull the trigger.
Oh, okay, that's a really good question, Bob. Because when someone thinks about being closer to the United States, but producing their products in in a cheaper cost or lower costs, then they think about Mexico, and they think about this and the IMEX as one of the most attractive benefits. But in addition to that, it's that an IMEX is not required to pay the import duty for the importations of the raw material that they bring into Mexico. And they may also save the value added tax, which is a 16%, and that's a lot. So those are some of the most important benefits that they look for when they think about producing a product anywhere that can be closer to the United States. And then here we come to something that has been a very hot topic, which is the nearshoring.
Yeah.
The nearshoring, which is the relocation of producers to a place which is close to where their end consumer is. And the nearshoring in Mexico, like what you mentioned, some companies coming from Asia to now to be in Mexico. And this is like a trend within the recent years after the pandemic, that they look Mexico as an opportunity for being close to the United States. They take advantage of the nearshoring, and that's another of the benefits. So in addition to producing with low cost labor, that they can save import duties, that they can save the value added tax, they can also be close to the United States, which is the largest market worldwide.
So I recall you and I having a chat about how hard it was at one point to actually get into an IMEX. Has that changed? Has that gotten any easier with the Mexican government?
Yes, but I think and let me just give a little bit background of this.
Okay.
In the year 2020, the Mexican government started being very, very strict about any companies that were applying for an IMEX. Whereas before, and I would say June the 2020, before then, it was very easy to apply for an IMEX. You could just basically get very basic and very simple information for applying for an IMEX, such as articles of incorporation, Mexican tax ID number, a location where the company is going to be located, production process description. But it was very basic information, and the government was still granting the IMEX programs. But after the second semester of the year 2020, they began being very strict, extremely strict. I mean, you could not imagine how it went to the point, to the extreme point of, it was just like any small error was enough for the government to deny the program.
Wow.
Any very piece of information, and I would say maybe it was like an opportunity for the government, or the reason for the government to deny IMEXs, because they were going through a transition, I would say, first of all, there was a new government in place with different policies, different politics, different social point of views. So they become very, very strict. And yes, I can tell you that within the last months, or maybe a couple of years, it has been easier to get an IMEX.
Well, they're not shooting themselves in the foot. I mean, there's a lot of benefit to, now in the new government, by the way, you brought that up. She's real open to this, correct? The IMEX, she's good. Go ahead.
Yes, the new president, recently elected Mexican president, her name is Claudia Sheinbaum. She will take office on October 1st. And she's part of the same political party that is now on power. But she has stated that she's interested in attracting foreign investment in Mexico, in continuing granting IMEX programs and allowing the investors to take advantage of this nearshoring. However, and nonetheless, she has pointed out very strictly that she will want companies to be in compliance.
Right.
That she will want them to not just take advantage of the nearshoring and the location or saving duties, taxes, or the fees. However, she wants also more people, more sectors of the population to take advantage and participate of the growth and the benefits that businesses such as the IMEX can provide. So she is promoting, and this is what she's been saying. We still don't know how exactly that will be once she takes office, but she has been saying that she's talking about a shared responsibility where all the involved parties, they take their responsibility seriously so that everyone can benefit equally. So that's her speech, and it's going to be important to see how that happens.
I promise you this, that, and the other thing. But now that once you brought this up, I mean, because you and I even chatted about how strict the Mexican government had been with the reporting aspect of the IMEX, and they were shutting some down. They were getting real stringent at one point, and you just lose your IMEX as a result. That's still in the picture?
Well, yes, and that's also take us to another point. Claudia Sheinbaum has stated that she will not increase taxes. So, because she wants to, she wants to continue with the same tax regime. However, she's looking to increase collection of taxes. And the way she wants to do it, of course, it's only by making sure everyone pays the taxes or duties they have to pay. And how can that be done? Well, and I think the only way that the government can do it is by targeting companies with more detail, making sure they pay their taxes. And if they see an error or a violation, of course, they will do audits in order to make sure that companies pay. So I think this is a very important moment for companies doing business in Mexico, that they should be aware that there's this speech of the government for everyone to take advantage of the foreign investment, to continue attracting more business, to make a shared responsibility, but this involves responsible for paying the taxes that you have to.
Mexico will get their money. Bottom line. Well, I mean, that's pretty. Yeah, you think about the investment that you've made. You better keep up with your reporting and your compliance on this.
Exactly.
Certainly, you don't want them just shutting the door on you.
Yes, exactly. And as I was saying, this is a very important moment for companies doing business in Mexico to be aware of the compliance requirement. It's a really good time to audit your operations, to make sure that what you are doing is actually under the law, to prevent that you are in violation. And if you have the resources, that you do internal assessments, internal review to your operations before the government comes and knocks your door.
Yeah, and I want to mention, you mentioned the auditing aspect. Your partner, Francisco de la Cruz Garcia, yes, he audited IMEX for the Mexican government for 17 years before he came to work with Braumiller Law Group, so Counsel. So that I just wanted to mention that. I'll put a little pic up here of Francisco, everybody. This is Brenda's partner. But if you really need to do what she just said, and that's audit, they definitely can both assist you in that aspect of it. But Brenda, I like to keep these to about 15 minutes, and I'm afraid that our time has come to say goodbye. But I really appreciate you stopping in this morning. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Bob. The 15 minutes run by very, very fast.
Very quickly. All right. Thanks. See you later.
Thank you. Bye.